Hello there, dear YouTubers. My name is King1993, and today is another day of me trying to explain two more of the Nikke double triple S tier character, burst 3 character within this game. Okay, now do remember that this is the beginners and intermediate guide only, and not the meta players. So if any of the meta players who are watching this video, go watch something else. Okay. Now, without further ado, let's get started. Now, two of the characters which I wanted to talk about is gonna be Alice and Snow White. So let's talk about them. So first of all, go to this website which is goes by the name pridewine.gg, then click on Nikke, then click on tier list, then click on boss with ads. Okay, after doing all of these sequence, click on these two characters, Alice and Snow White. Now the reason why I didn't talk about these two characters in the beginning video, sorry, the video before this one was Modernia, Noir, and Scarlet. The reason why I talked about those three but not these two, because these two characters, they have a little bit of problem, and for that problem reason is the reason why I do not plan on using this character on the long run. Okay, unless it is for just what should I call it, overall damage output numbers, maybe you might want to see them, but other than that, in terms of usefulness, you might not want to see them. Okay, so let's talk about why is that reason. Well, first of all, let's talk about their types and stuff. Okay, so Alice, is her full name. She is a tetra manufacturer, uh Nikke, unlimited squad, SSR rarity, attacker class, sniper rifle, element fire, and burst type 3. Okay, now Snow White is a pilgrim. Uh, she's a squad of the pioneer, and her rarity is SSR. Her class is attacker class. Her weapon is also assault rifle. Okay, assault rifle and the sniper rifle, two different things. Sorry about that. Her weapon is assault rifle. Her element is iron, and her burst type is burst type. Okay. Now, obviously, me trying to explain all of these with percentage is not a very good idea, because overall the percentage here doesn't make the whole effect. The whole effect is basically made by maxing out each character and trying different types of weapon on them to see what happens and what doesn't happen. So based on that, let's say most of the evaluation is done when they are basically maxed out in their ranking. That is point number one. And point number two is after their ranking is maxed out, all of the gear they have on them are taken off, and then the overall evaluation is done. So that's basically how these characters are evaluated. Okay, so from that point of perspective, I'm not going to be talking about this damage percentage. Rather, I'm going to be talking about what are the effect. Okay, so effect target enemy. What type of effects do the enemies take? More damage. Okay, her weapon has a charge time of 1.5 second, which has a total ammo of 6 ammo, but the whole reload takes about 2 seconds. Okay, her full charge basically does a lot more damage compared to the regular damage, and she deals about 200% damage when attacking the core. Now let's talk about the skill. So what does skill 1 do? Okay, activates when entering burst. Okay, this is the burst effect to ally with a highest attack. What do the allies gain? They gain more charge speed and they gain more charge damage. Okay, now this basically is given to the characters who either uses rocket launcher or sniper rifle. So this doesn't apply to all of the characters. Now let's talk about this one. So what this skill 2 does is basically affect herself. And what is the effect? If the HP percentage is lower than 80%, then above 80%, then she basically gains more firepower. That's basically how it goes. And if the HP is below 80%, she gains more healing capability. The about 8%, something like that. Okay, now when it comes to her burst basically gives her more charging speed. Okay, so as a result, what happens, she is gonna continuously shoot at the enemy, just look and shoot. There is basically no need to charge. So that's basically how it goes. And her overall attack percentage also increases for 10 seconds. So that's basically how Alice work. Okay, now let's talk about Snow White. So when it comes to Snow White, the overall assault rifle reload time is about 1.5 seconds, which has a 60 ammo. And what it basically does is attack the attack damage percentage is this increases up to this certain amount percentage. And when attacking the core, this is the percentage which happens when attacking the core. Okay, now let's talk about skill 1. So when it comes to skill 1, it is said that after attacking with normal hits for 30 times, affects enemy target. So what do the enemy targets get? The enemies get more damage on them. Okay, so the enemies get more damage by the Nikke. So that's basically how it goes. Activates when normal attack hits 30 times. So another thing which happens after 30 times is the overall attack percentage also increases for 5 seconds. Okay, so attack and additional damage percentage, all of them increases after every 30 hit. Okay, now let's talk about the skill 2. So when it comes to skill 2, it says 7 dwarf, 5 and 6. So I do not know why do they name this. Okay, so what does this thing do? Okay, do remember there's Snow White, so obviously the concept of dwarf is gonna appear here because her name is basically a fairy tale. Okay, anyway, so what this skill 2 does is affect enemy within the attack range. So what do the enemies within the attack range get? They get more damage. Okay, activate when attacking during full burst time. So what happens during this time? During this time, our skill 2 activates, by which she will be doing more critical damage for 10 seconds. So that's basically how it goes. That's now let's talk about the burst skill. So dwarf 7 dwarf 1. Okay, so in this place, obviously you can see the cooldown is 40 seconds. Other than that, effect self, what is the effect? Changes the weapon is used. So basically speaking, whatever weapon she was using, which was assault rifle, she will end up using a sniper rifle, which has a charge time of 5 seconds. So in that 5 seconds, what will happen is the overall damage output is gonna increase by 500%. Okay, but here's the thing: at full charge, the attack is gonna gain about 1000% of damage. Okay, now obviously this can only be used one time. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Additional effect is penetration. So penetration is not important. The important part is this burst 1, which is gonna take about 5 seconds to fully charge, and after charging it is gonna she is gonna shoot only one round. So based on that, all I can say that having Alice and Snow White is good, but they are not the best option when it comes to doing massive quantity of damage with boss. So basically speaking, even among triple S rank burst 3 characters, okay, these two are not gonna be as useful as Scarlet or Noir or Modernia. So if you are planning on using any of the characters within this game, obviously giving Snow White or Alice any type of buff is not going to be worth it. What do I mean by that? Well, as I stated in my previous statement, that comms I do not need to see them all of the time. But the thing is, when I use those characters and see how they work, only then I need to decide should I even use them or not. So based on that, Snow White and Alice are worth not worth investing. That is my whole point. But if you are gonna be one of those people who say, okay, even if they are not good, I'm still gonna use them, that is different. But if you have any other character such as Mordinia, Noir, or Scarlet, okay, I highly suggest that you use them instead of these two characters. Okay, now the overall question remains, okay, I have finally understood how their capability is. Where can I test them? You can go and test them in this union section. You can go to this shooting range and you can basically change out these two characters here. Okay, let's say I have selected, I'm gonna be selecting these two. Okay, where is she? Okay, this one and this one. Okay, by doing so, what will happen is you will be able to see what these characters are capable of doing. Now, after seeing their results, only then you will be able to understand if they are actually worth it or not. And yes, I have used those characters into this union section shooting range. Okay, only to realize that these two characters are not worth it. Okay, so what is my overall conclusion? My overall conclusion is I am giving you guys an idea of what can you expect from each type of Nikke. And based on that, all I'm going to say that not every character is worth it. And based on that, all I'm going to say that if you are planning on getting any of the character and upgrading them, be careful and see this video of whether you should be investing on those characters or not. Okay, so if I were to say, okay, but I do not have Noir, so how can I give a statement about a character which I do not have? Don't worry, just go to this section here and click on listen Noir, okay, and read this description. Now, after reading this description, you can probably see that Noir is not only gonna be capable of doing damage to the enemies, rather will also affect the allies who are gonna be using shotgun, and their hit rate is gonna increase. Not only that, the damage to the interrupted part basically are if a certain boss has more than one part, they are also gonna get hit for 10 seconds. And at the end of the burst, okay, if there are similar squad member available, which is her sister, for example, Blance, if you have Blance, that is, the hit rate is gonna stay activated for 30 seconds at a term of 11.61%, and the damage to interrupting part are also gonna take additional damage of 19.36% for 30 seconds. So if you compare Noir with Snow White and Alice, obviously Snow White and Alice is basically nowhere near as good as Noir. So if I were to say, okay, how would have rated them? I would have rated them in the following manner: is I would have put Snow White and Alice in this area here, in the double S rank. Okay, so that's basically how it goes. Now, other than that, if you are still wondering, okay, what type of cube you should be giving them, let's go to this lock sector here, and then once I go to this lock sector, let's go to the harmony cube, and then there are many cube available. Now, out of the many cube, I would just give hit rate to Snow White, okay, because she has an assault rifle. And when it comes to onslaught, okay, I would give onslaught to Alice, because onslaught basically lowers the overall charge rate of a certain weapon. So based on that, I would say that those are the best option. Okay, so that's basically how it goes. Now, if this video is useful, then please give a like and subscribe and click the bell notification icons to get more of this type of topic on a regular basis. Thank you and see you again next time.